Hope everybody's doing well today. Going live to discuss breaking news. I just seen that Nick Gordon, damn, all these pop-ups. Nick Gordon has passed away from a drug overdose. Give me just a second here. Nick Gordon is Bobbi Kristina Brown's ex-boyfriend. He was there when Whitney Houston died, and he was there when Bobbi Kristina Brown died. Hey guys, who's coming into the room? I know, I'm shocked too, just me. Some of you remember me from my older channel. Happy New Year to you guys. And pretty much, I covered the Bobbi Kristina Brown story all the way from when she was first, drowned, when, her accident first happened, all the way for like the whole 6 months that she was lying in that coma in a vegetative state. And, my videos were seen by a lot of people. And that was my older channel that I had. So, when I seen the news a few minutes ago that Nick Gordon passed away from a drug overdose, shocked to say the least on New Year's Day. But more importantly, it kind of upsets me because I feel like now we will not get the truth of what happened to Bobbi Kristina Brown or to Whitney Houston, because honestly, I've been saying it for years. He was there when both of them died in similar manners, okay? Whitney Houston, her body was found in a bathtub. The water was extra hot still hours after she died. She had bruises on her, almost as if you look at the autopsy report, like she was, battling. She had bruises on her. And this was found on the autopsy. And they attributed this to possibly her falling into the tub or whatever. That was already shaky to me whenever that happened. And then a couple years later, 2 or 3 years later, Bobbi Kristina Brown is found in a bathtub, except in her case, the water was cold and she was clothed and she was missing 2 of her teeth that Nick had knocked out of her mouth. Nick moved on pretty quickly after Bobbi Kristina Brown passed away. He, moved on to this other girl, starts with an L, Laura Leals or something like that. She blocked me because I've always, tried to reach out to Nick Gordon to try to talk to him, to try to get some sort of answer to what happened to Bobbi Kristina Brown and even what happened to Whitney Houston. I just found it really strange that both mother and daughter were found in bathtubs. And I found it really strange that you've got, Whitney Houston in a tub of water that was still at like 94, 93 degrees hours after she, died, which tells you that the water was hot. Now, and then Bobbi Kristina Brown found in water that was cold with her clothes on, right? And to me, when I think about that, it's like someone just turned the faucet on just to get some water in the tub. No one actually adjusted the hot and cold water controls to make sure the water wasn't too hot or too cold to get into the tub, is what it tells me. So I've always been bothered by that. And, he's been a drug addict for years. And I definitely felt like he contributed to Bobbi Kristina Brown's death. I will still say it. I'm sorry that he's passed away today. It's horrible. It's sad, but I still feel like he is responsible for Bobbi Kristina Brown not being here. Possibly even Whitney too. That's how I feel. And I felt that way for years. I'm really sorry that Nick Gordon passed away from a drug overdose. But I feel really bad that Bobbi Kristina Brown isn't here too. I would have loved to have known more about Bobbi Kristina Brown's death And he just did not want to talk to anybody about it. Dr. Phil tried to help Nick Gordon. Nick Gordon couldn't stand me. His brother has blocked me on Twitter. That used to be his main thing that he used to, social media that he used to love to use. And I know his brother did confirm that Nick, did die of a drug overdose. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. But more so, like I said, than anything, I'm pissed because now we will never know the truth of what happened with Bobbi Kristina Brown. We know he put hands on her. He knocked out several of her teeth. And it's been years, I know that, since she passed away. But I was always hoping there would come a time that he would open up and talk about it. And, he just never did. I see Viola says, I'm not shocked. I mean, I'm not shocked that he's dead from a drug overdose. I am shocked that he's dead. Like that, wasn't expecting that. I guess maybe New Year's, kind of adds to that a little bit. But I'm just more so pissed because now there will be no answers. Exactly, Unbothered Mimi. I feel like Whitney Houston's death and Bobbi Kristina Brown's death really wasn't investigated like they should have been. That's how I feel. You don't find somebody in a tub full of cold water and not ask questions. Who gets into a tub of cold water with their clothes on? Seriously, have any of you ever did that? I don't give a fuck how. I mean, they said she was high, she was drunk and all this type of stuff, and that she had drugs in her system and everything. But was she in a position to run a bathtub of water? I should probably upload like those old videos of me talking about this case because, man, I talked about this case a lot on YouTube, a lot. I followed it from the moment that it happened. Exactly. Hey, Lynn, shocked but not shocked. And I kind of just blew into this video without even really acknowledging you guys in the chat. My apologies. It's just that I was just so shocked when I seen this news. So you guys know kind of how I rock. Let's see what we can find out there. And I'll share, the latest on it. But I'll be honest with you. Don't kill me, you guys. Don't be mad at me. I'm very, I think it's very sad that Nick Gordon is dead. But I think it's even sadder that we will not get any answers about the death of Bobbi Kristina Brown and her mother, possibly. He was there in both instances. Both of these women were found in bathtubs with water in the tubs. Does anybody else find that really strange? I'm just saying. Just looking at some of your comments. Maybe he was getting ready to spill it all, man. Nick Gordon was a hard one, man. He wasn't going to spill anything. So let me share out my screen here and, let's take a look at some of the articles to get some of the latest news on this. Again, man, it pisses me off. To waste your life on drugs. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's too much drug use and people ODing. I don't know what he OD'd on. I'm thinking some sort of heroin or something because him and Bobbi Kristina were doing heroin. And that's typically what people OD on. There's just no damn telling. Let me bring this article up. This is People. And when People publishes it, it's, you almost want to wish that this isn't happening. You know what I'm saying? So interestingly enough, it has been 3 years since Bobbi Kristina Brown passed away. And I remember whenever she had her, what they say was an accident, it was in January. And she passed away in like June or July of that year. You can see the progression of Nick's drug use as the years went by. When he, as he was growing up as an 18, 19-year-old, and you could just like see it in him. You can see it in him. He looked like he, was on drugs. And I'll never forget the interview with Dr. Phil that Dr. Phil did with Nick Gordon after Bobbi Kristina Brown passed away. I wanted him to get some answers so bad from him. And I think that's probably all that we'll ever know, right? I don't know if he ever talked to anybody else and told him anything about the situation with Bobbi Kristina Brown. I don't know. But his brother's name is Jack. That is his brother's name. He did confirm that Nick Gordon died Wednesday in Florida. So today, January 1st, 2020, he was bringing in the new year. Still doing drugs, unfortunately. And I know addiction is very difficult. I understand that. But this guy, he's been doing drugs. I mean, to those of you who followed Nick Gordon as long as I have, surely you all remember watching him fucking destroying himself on national TV on the Dr. Phil show. Dude could not stand up on his feet. And it's sad to see that this is how his life ended. It really is sad. Jack, the statement says that we are devastated by the loss of my beautiful brother. He leaves a void in the hearts of my family and his friends. Nick's battle in life was not an easy one. I will be forever grateful that my God afforded a small moment at the very end of Nick's life, and I was able to hold his hand as he journeyed on. This is what his brother Jack said. This was a statement that his brother Jack made. Hold on, let me get rid of this. So to me, that tells me that he must have overdosed and he was in the hospital or something, and they must have taken him off life support, and the brother was there while he was, taken off life support. That's really kind of what that tells me. In response to Gordon's death, his lawyer, Joe S. Habachy, tells people, my heart is heavy today after learning that my longtime client, Nick Gordon, died at the young age of 30. I remember when he hired Casey Anthony's lawyer. He was going to hire Jose Baez at one point. I don't know whatever happened with that, but the lawyer continues on to say in his statement, while I cannot speak to the specific circumstances of his death, I can say that it's been truly heartbreaking to have witnessed firsthand the total devastation that drug addiction has wreaked upon a group of young friends, all of whom were loved and had immense potential. It's interesting the lawyer says that because Bobbi Kristina Brown, drugs. One of their friends who was there the day that Bobbi Kristina Brown was found in the tub, he died of a drug overdose, maybe just a few months after Bobbi Kristina, maybe a few months to a year after Bobbi Kristina Brown died. He died of a drug overdose. His name was Max, I believe. And I'm doing this all off memory. But he also found Bobbi Kristina Brown in the tub that day. So when he says this group of young friends, that's what that, comes to mind. There was a lady there with Max. I'd have to look at the papers to look at her name because I don't remember. I have no idea whether or not she's alive or what. But the lawyer continued on to say, despite all of the incredible challenges Nick faced over the last few years, I can honestly say that he worked hard to hold his head up and stay sober, and that he genuinely wanted a happy, healthy life with his family more than anything else. My heart goes out to the family and friends Nick leaves behind, and to any other families dealing with the losses and heartache caused by drugs. So apparently he suffered a number of heart attacks on New Year's Day and was rushed to ICU at Altamonte Springs Hospital, where he eventually died. Jack Walker Jr., who's his brother, his little brother, expressed his heartbreak on Facebook shortly after the loss, writing, God, why I think typo. I think he's saying, why did I have to lose my brother on New Year's? All I can do is cry. He went on in a separate post saying, I love you so much, big brother. I hope you heard me talking to you at your bedside. You are with me and I can feel it. I love you. I love you. I love you. Watch over me and your nieces. And then he goes on to say, shit wasn't supposed to go like this. You were my best friend, and I never in a million years thought I'd be writing this for my ace. I was there through every step. We all love you no matter what, and we'll all stay strong for you. New Year's didn't have to start like this, and you just told me you had to see me for New Year's. But I'm blessed I got to talk to you last night. You will forever be my best friend. Nobody will ever take your place. This was his post. It's sad. It is sad. I'm not here to bash this man in his death. I'm really not. But I may not feel the same that other people do. I'm just being honest. He hid a lot of things, and I want to know. I've wanted to know, why was his girlfriend in a bathtub of cold water with teeth knocked out of her mouth? That's what I've been wanting to know for years. And instead, I think that incident helped. He was already doing drugs, and it seems like he just spiraled deeper and deeper and deeper into drugs. I know that him and his girlfriend, I think her name is Laura Leals, I think, they've had incidents of domestic violence. Unfortunately, TMZ posted that audio of the police, going, to their home. He's been to jail for domestic violence against her. He was found guilty in a civil judgment of Bobbi Kristina Brown's death, and he was ordered to pay $36 million. However, in the state of Florida, it's one of a few states that you can live in. And if you have a civil judgment against you, they can't take your assets, like your home. If you were to buy a home and things like that, they can't do that if you live in the state of Florida, which he stayed in Florida pretty much since Bobbi Kristina Brown passed away. He went to go live with his mom down there, and he pretty much stayed there. And of course, hooked up with Laura. Now, I don't know if he was still with her when this happened. I'm sure the details will come out. I'm interested, to know if he was still with that same girl. She was a Latina chick. And, Nick never had children that I'm aware of. So, I'm really glad that no children had to suffer through watching their parent deal with drug addiction, drug abuse like he was. Now, his sudden death comes 3 years after he was found liable, right, in the wrongful death case of Whitney Houston's daughter, Bobbi Kristina. She was 22, right, when she was found unconscious and unresponsive with drugs in her system in the bathtub of the Georgia townhouse she shared with him in 2015. So it was 5 years ago. He didn't show up to court, basically, and they ended up filing this judgment. And one thing about this picture, I look at this picture, and you know something about this picture? This was at some event that they went to, and they were both on drugs during this time. You can tell by looking at them. If you compare it to other photos, Bobbi Kristina Brown in this picture had on 2 different shoes, black dress shoes. I don't know, but I remember that from that picture. So in recent years, Gordon found himself entangled in legal drama after his girlfriend Laura accused him of physical altercations. He was arrested back in March of last year, and Laura had told authorities that her boyfriend struck her in the face while she was driving, adding that he also pulled her hair and stated to her that he should make her wreck the vehicle. In April 2018, however, Leal, under oath, denied being struck or touched against her will by Gordon in statements written in a letter to the judge. Honestly, I totally believe he put his hands on her, because I know he put his hands on Bobbi Kristina Brown. I've said this for years, told him if he had a problem with it, sue me. He never sued me, because he knew. I mean, I hate to say that because the man just passed away, but I'm just being honest. He went on, to me, in my eyes, to just continue to spiral down after Bobbi Kristina Brown died. I mean, that's just what it seems like. He spiraled into a life of just drug addiction. And I know it's got to be difficult as a family member to watch that happen with someone that you love and care for, your brother or your sister. And I can understand where Junior, his little brother, is coming from with his statements and everything. But for people out there like myself, man, his death leaves a lot of questions unanswered. It looks like, people goes on to kind of talk about, he was also arrested in 2017 for battery and false imprisonment charges against Laura. I remember that she claimed that he held her in his room for 12 hours or some nonsense like that, after beating her up. But those charges got dropped as well. And honestly, it wasn't even a year after Bobbi Kristina Brown passed away that he was with this new girlfriend who blocked me on Facebook. They never wanted to talk about Bobbi Kristina Brown or the circumstances around Bobbi Kristina Brown. Nick never wanted to talk about it. Let's see what TMZ is saying. Pretty much what we've read. Let's see here. Okay, so as you'll recall, Gordon and a friend, and that friend's name was Max, found Whitney Houston and Bobbi Brown's daughter face down in a bathtub on January 31st of 2015. She was placed in an induced coma. We know that she did have irreversible brain damage, and she did pass away in hospice. So it was July 26th. Yeah. I knew it went all the way into the first part or middle of summer. It was awful. Her passing was just the most horrible thing, for her to lie in that state like that for 6+ months. He was, as TMZ is saying, like I've told you guys, he was found responsible for her death, because he didn't show up in court. And to me, that reeks of some guiltiness in some form, because that's a default judgment against you. A default civil judgment. He just didn't show up. And he was under criminal investigation for her death. But the police just never did anything to me in Georgia. I'm not sure what they were investigating. All they've ever said, and anytime I've ever called them, all they just say is the case is still open. Well, now, unfortunately, I feel like that case is going to go nowhere because he's died. And of course, we know about the domestic violence. So yeah, he's been in the Orlando area, for some time, and staying, with his folks, I guess. I don't know if his mom is in Orlando right now or what, but this right here was pretty damn shocking. I mean, that is really the latest on this story, to be honest with you. Stuff like this, I'm going to be watching the news over the next couple of days, because I'm really interested to know if he was still with Laura, how this happened, all that. I want to know some details behind what exactly happened, or how, because obviously he passed away in the hospital. So someone found him alive, obviously, and he was transported to the hospital, and it sounds like to me they pulled some life support from him. A lot of people think that, a lot of people feel that way. Ebony Queen says he got away with murder. That's how I feel. I really feel that way. I covered that from the very beginning of when it happened. And I was already suspicious of him when Whitney Houston passed away. You know, I'll never forget reading that autopsy report. And what really just, you know, came out to me was how hot the water was still hours after the police took her out of the tub. So, you know, who gets in a tub with searing hot water enough where it scalded some of her skin? Why did she have bruises and marks on her body? They said she could have fell into the tub. I'm like, I don't believe that. That doesn't even sound right. And then 3 years later, her daughter is found in a bathtub, but this time the water's cold. It wasn't warm at all. And she was clothed, missing teeth. And Nick Gordon's been there both times. What's really going on here? I'm not denying that Bobbi Kristina Brown consumed drugs. I'm not saying that. I fully believe that she was doing drugs, okay? But did she overdose and he put her in the tub? Why was she missing some of the teeth in her mouth? You know what I'm saying? There was one incident that happened between Nick and Bobbi Kristina Brown, and one of their friends is a lady. I don't remember her name, but I remember I could find it. She was staying with Bobbi Kristina Brown at the time, and Nick Gordon literally assaulted Bobbi Kristina Brown, was kicking her while she was down on the ground, and knocked one tooth out in that incident. This girl was 22. Nobody at 22 years old has loose teeth. You know what I'm saying? He was hitting her with enough force to knock her teeth out. And I just find it very uncanny that mother and daughter were both found in bathtubs filled with water. I do. I find it really uncanny. And he happened to be there in both places. Just wow. Just wow. I just am shocked at this whole thing. I really, really am. And like I told you guys at the beginning of the live, I'm more so shocked because I'm upset that we will never get the truth of what happened that day for either Bobbi Kristina or her mom, Whitney. I mean, the woman was there. What was it? The Grammys? She was at a hotel to go to an awards event, I just, this is all raw, guys, because I literally just found out about his passing. Hey, Petra. Let's read some of y'all's comments because I am just, y'all see, I didn't even put a banner up. I just straight up went live to talk about this. Let's see what you guys are thinking. I'm going to scroll up here a little bit and then I'll get to the newer comments. Carol, shout out to you, baby. Carol says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you guys, honestly. Who would have thought? We need to be very thankful and grateful, especially like when we see stuff like this, that we are seeing this day today, 2020, right? We made it. We all made it and we're all alive. We're living regardless of whatever ailments we have, whatever issues we have. We are alive today. And that is something to be so grateful for. So happy New Year to all of you, honestly. Nick Gordon, in my opinion, was responsible for Bobbi Kristina's death. He was very abusive to her. Yeah, he was. And I feel the same way. And I've said this for years. You could literally go see my Twitter feed and see that I've been going after this man for years. I am so shocked that he died on freaking New Year's Day. It's like, is this karma? Like, obviously he didn't stop the drug use. Like when he went on the Dr. Phil show, and when he couldn't stand up, dude was popping Xanaxes. Dr. Phil, I can't even remember if he ever even went to rehab. I think he did for a little bit. His mom did an interview with Dr. Phil, and she was trying to get her son help. He was completely in the throes of addiction, completely, as a young man. And to be 30 years old, to go out this way is sad to me. It is just sad, but more so, it angers me a little bit. That was my first initial thought. You know what I'm saying? God. Let's see here. Edward X, shout out to you. They gave him some bad dope and it killed him. He should have known that he was at risk because of his involvement in Whitney and Bobbi. Here, let me scroll down here. Shout out to you and your feelings. I feel that way too. You and your feelings. I feel that same way. I do. I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to offend his family in any way. I'm not. But I'll tell you, if there's one person that's not going to be kind towards Nick Gordon, it would be me. One Proud Grandma says, wow, this is so sad. I wish he would have gotten help. I do too. I wish he would have gotten help too. But there were so many chances for him to get help. He just didn't take up on that. I'm pretty sure he could have picked that phone up and called Dr. Phil even a week ago. Even after it's been, 5 years or whatever, he still probably could have reached out to Dr. Phil and gotten back in rehab or something, right? That's just, I don't know. It's, when you're doing drugs and you OD and it kills you, it's not like you purposely meant to do that, but gosh, man, like, how high are you trying to be? Is weed not enough? I'm just saying, who wants to get high and zoot it out to where you can't even function? That's crazy to me. Happy New Year, Centel, baby. Ebony Queen says he felt guilty for killing Whitney's daughter. That's possible. And now we will never know, unfortunately. Like, all of those secrets died with him. It all just died with him. And it really is awful. Yes, Stephanie, her teeth, she was missing teeth. 2 that I know of for sure. Front teeth. Yeah. And so just imagine how hard you have to hit somebody for them to lose their teeth. You know what I mean? Hey, Regina. The new year hasn't even cracked open yet, and death in the new year already. I know. God, Lord knows I wasn't going to do a video today. I've been watching all the nonsense going on, on YouTube, like many of you. And, I don't speak on a lot of that stuff. And then I seen this. Who was it that I seen? I think it was someone named Lady Nika. That I seen the video where, she had did a video talking about it. I heard like the first minute, instantly started Google searching, and boom, here we are. Because the story with Bobbi Kristina Brown is just so close to my heart because I covered it so much when it all happened. I wonder what Pat Houston's thinking right now. Is she kind of feeling like maybe getting the truth from Nick Gordon has been robbed from her? And I know about the other aunt, Leola, Leola Brown. She's been very vocal about Bobbi Kristina Brown ever since Bobbi Kristina Brown, had her so-called accident. And I wonder what she's thinking right now. I bet she'll probably be the first one to say something in the Brown family. She is definitely, someone that will speak what's on her mind. Let me just go on down to the bottom and look at your guys' newest comments. Petra, poor guy's been through hell. Never gonna happen, heathen. You might as well move around, honey. You might as well move around. His name's been in my mouth for 5 years and it ain't gonna change, baby. Now, I didn't like that movie either on Lifetime. I didn't think that it gave her raw silly. Thanks for your comment. I didn't think it really gave Whitney Houston, you know, the recognition that she really deserved. It was such a cheesy movie. It was so corny, and I hated it too. I did not like it. And you're right. She does deserve a Hollywood blockbuster. Whitney Houston had the vocals of an angel, man. That woman's voice was magical. It really, really was. Poor Bobbi. Can we all be glad that Bobbi Brown is, seems to be getting, his life in order and is, and I wonder what he's thinking right now. He opened up a home for domestic violence victims after this incident with his daughter. So I can just imagine, how he's feeling, but shout out to you, Petra, baby. Yeah, the entire saga is a tragedy, Ross Silly. Like, that's, I think, probably the biggest thing that I'm thinking, that is running in my mind is how tragic this entire situation is. The whole thing, from Whitney Houston dying to Bobbi Kristina Brown dying to their friends dying of overdoses to now this, to this. Frank says drugs did not kill Whitney nor BK. Some people say Nick Gordon killed Whitney and BK, Bobbi Kristina Brown. We don't know. And now we'll never know. And that's what is so awful about this whole situation. Leola Brown said that Whitney was beaten to death and Ray J allegedly was there in the room when she died. I made a video once called Leola Brown, Please Shut the F Up. I did years ago when I was covering this. And a lot of people didn't agree with maybe some of the things that I said. Leola tends to be very dramatic with some of the things that she says. I appreciate how open she is, but I don't always take everything that Leola says as truth. And I'm not saying that Leola Brown's a liar at all. She has feelings and emotions. That was her niece. But I don't believe Ray J was in the room when Whitney died. I don't. But I wonder, was Nick Gordon in the room? Because he was there with them. He was absolutely there whenever Whitney Houston died. I mean, Whitney Houston took Nick Gordon in like a son, right? And so you have to wonder about that relationship between Whitney and Nick. At one time I wondered, okay, maybe, is he a young lover? But then once I found out how old he was, I'm like, okay, well, what is the attraction there between the two? Like, what would make Whitney take Nick Gordon in like a son when he has a mother and he has a family, right? And I guess sometimes you like people or whatever the case may be. I just wonder if that is or the reason why she's no longer with us. I do know that she's known Nick. Whitney had known Nick since he was like 13 or 14 years old. I know that. And I would think if anybody, like Whitney Houston comes to you and says, oh, I'll help you take care of your child if you're in a situation like that. I've tried not to really fault Nick Gordon's mom for that. But we don't know the circumstances around it. And why Nick Gordon, was living with Whitney Houston, right? We just don't know. Hey, Mrs. Meat. You guys check out Mrs. Meat 37. She's a content creator. Been meaning to shout her out. She was dealing with some drama herself over there. And she's also, been putting out some really good videos I've been watching. So you guys check out Mrs. Meat 37 when you get a chance. Oh, Frank said Pat's brother. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Man, I'm thinking about that now. Because Bobbi Brown has a big family. Like, he's got a lot of brothers and sisters. And some are vocal and some are not. And, you know, Whitney Houston really leaned on Pat, who is only related to Whitney by marriage. And Leola Brown, being, you know, a blood relative of Bobbi Kristina Brown, really went head to head with Pat Houston. And they have just always had issues with each other. And, you know, Pat does not care for Leola, and Leola definitely does not care for Pat Houston. You know, Leola's made a lot of claims against Pat Houston in the past. And I'm just like, wow, man, now nobody's going to get any answers about anything. This just leaves so much up in the air. And it is just very, very, very shocking. Now, let's see here. This is exactly what I'm saying too. I think the same person would have, you know, y'all can see it on the screen. I'm trying to be nice because the fact of the matter is that this man did lose his life today. And so I'm not trying to bash the man on, you know, on the day he lost his life, but I just can't help how I feel about him. And I'm sorry. If it offends anyone, I've seen a couple of comments, you know, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. And some of the comments I see, thank you, Carlton. I do see your comment. I can't put it up on the screen though. He's on Facebook, guys. Let's see here. Nick's mom moved to Hawaii and he was living with friends. I'm not sure. They did say he moved to the Orlando area a few months ago, though, so that is possible. I'm going to definitely find out more about this, and I'll be going live to tell you guys about it. Yeah. So Momo, hey baby, shout out to Mama Titi Almeida. Nick told Dr. Phil he gave Whitney CPR. He did say that. He said that. 2 women in a span of 3 years found in their bathtubs, one in searing hot water, the other in cold with her clothes on. Something ain't right. It's like they just turned the water faucet on. They didn't actually test, you know, to make sure it wasn't too hot or too cold. They just turned the faucet on. You know, that's the way it came off to me reading the autopsy reports of both Bobbi Kristina Brown and Whitney Houston. And he did claim that he gave Whitney CPR. He claimed a lot of things in that Dr. Phil interview. He was so high in that interview. He was in danger then. And Dr. Phil got him some help. And obviously people do relapse. I know it happens. It's horrible. It's awful. It's awful. It's horrible. It's sad. I feel very bad for his family that they're having to deal with this, along with the media that's going to be out their door because Nick Gordon, who he is, you know. That's what's up, Roll a Mile, My Shoes Green. You guys, she's also a content creator. Y'all check her out. Roll a Mile in My Shoes Green. I know I am. I see your comment. Man, we all know though, right, that if you're a believer in God, that you can always get forgiveness for your sins, right? Let's do a couple more comments. And Whitney hated hotel bathtubs and never used them. Ugh, I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to sit in no hotel bathroom. You know how many people have sitting there? Yeah, no. Nicole on Facebook says them demons was after him. Ain't that the truth though? I mean, so much happened. And maybe it was just too much, right, for him. And he just kind of spiraled into these addictive ways and these addictions and these drugs. Regina says, see, that's the thing. I wouldn't put it past what happened because he was stoned out of your mind. And then on top of it, on Dr. Phil, he was high on top of that. So there's a lot of issues there. Exactly. Yeah. A lot of issues. We'll find out pretty soon the drug. I'm pretty sure Florida will release that information. They don't release photos, of course, of people that have died, but how Frank feels is how I feel. That's how I feel. I just find it too uncanny that mother and daughter were found in a bathtub the same way. I do. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel. So I'm shocked, guys. Again, I will be keeping up with the story, as far as like the details as they come out, and we'll let you guys know, in my next video. But I do want to say Happy New Year to you guys, to all of you. And let's all be grateful that we're alive and living to see it, right? And I appreciate all of you that have come on the live today and expressed how you feel. I'll definitely go back and look at your comments. How you guys feel is how you feel. And I can only respect that, right? But this here, like what Proud Mommy of Six Poitiers says, he was there both times. Like, I still just can't get over that. And this was kind of how I felt too. Brenda says, wow, I'm shocked and not shocked all at the same time. What happened? Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. And then I did think about this. Mrs. Meat says, I hope he confessed to someone. He's dead now. So if that confession was to somehow reach the light of day, he can't be prosecuted. But man, I just feel like we will never get answers about Bobbi Kristina Brown's death now, unfortunately. And this is a very ironic thing that Bobby Brown is outliving his whole family. Wow. Wow. It is so sad. Drug addiction is no joke, guys. It's no joke. I really wish Nick would have gotten some additional help. I really wish that it wasn't this way. I do. I really do. Along with the fact that I guess it's a little bit selfish of me to feel like, the truth died with him. I don't think it's okay for anybody at 30 years old to die of a drug overdose. You know what I'm saying? I don't. And he has been struggling with drugs for years. Wow. This comment, the OD, wow. The OD didn't kill him. The guilt did. He died a long time ago. Wow. That's a powerful comment. It really is a powerful comment. Because I honestly do believe that, anybody who will go through something like that, losing your mate, your girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, husband, wife, whatever, the way that Bobbi Kristina Brown died, and knowing that her mother, the most famous, one of the singer in the world, okay, died in a similar manner, it has to be a very heavy burden to bear in your spirit and in your heart, especially if you know that you may have did something that helped, whether it was procuring the drugs for Bobbi Kristina Brown, whether he put her in the bathtub after she OD'd on drugs. I mean, I don't know. Now we'll never know. And that, I think, is what makes me feel a certain kind of way, is that you hope somebody will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before they pass away. Now, I feel like we never got that from him. Dr. Phil tried, he tried, but we just never got that from him. Pat knows everything about those deaths. I don't think Pat Houston killed Whitney. She definitely wasn't there when Bobbi Kristina Brown died, but a lot of people have accused her of being a killer, and I just don't feel that way. I don't, but I do appreciate your comment. Oh, yes, he was a mess. When he was on the Dr. Phil show, it was really frightening, honestly. He literally could not stand up. He was slurring when he was talking. His mother was very afraid for him, and rightfully so. I could not imagine being in that position that she was in. But man, I don't want to say too much on that end about the mom and son and their relationship and all that. I just know that she's going to be having some serious guilt. But you know what? She can say that she did try to help him. But I don't know what she's done in the last few years to help him. I just don't know. But it is. And Kirsten, thank you for that. He was absolutely uncontrollable. You and your feelings on Dr. Phil. And Kirsten left a comment saying he overdosed on heroin, according to the Daily Mail. Let me check that real quick. Honestly, that's what I figured. He did like heroin, or that was the drug of choice that he was using. I know that they found that in Bobbi Kristina as well. Let me see if I can find anything. Because, the Daily Mail, they're like a tabloid, right? Let me see. Because the family, I am seeing that on MSN. So MSN.com is saying that it was a heroin. Well, People is now confirming it too. Yeah, hold on. Let me show you all this. Yeah. They are definitely saying heroin overdose. I'm not surprised about it being a heroin overdose. Like I said, that was absolutely what I was aware of that he used from time to time. And they talked about that on the Dr. Phil show. 30 years old. And like I said, they've added that to the title, right? Wow, man. Just wow. I feel like the comment earlier, shocked, but not shocked. What's happened, right? Like, that's exactly kind of how I feel right now. And we do know, I spoke earlier, he had multiple heart attacks. Just wow. I remember that's when he was actually arrested. That mugshot, like we were talking about earlier, between him and Laura, they had a volatile relationship, and he was arrested on domestic violence. And I mean, there was even audio that TMZ had released. But when it came down to it, Laura denied it in court, like a lot of domestic violence victims do. I just wonder if she was still in a relationship with Nick. I do. I wonder that. Let's see here. Yeah, this is just kind of like an informational video. Nothing that we haven't already discussed. He looks awful in that picture. He looks awful. He does. He looks horrible in this mugshot photo. And that was, 2017, 2018. Gosh, man, I just don't know what else to say. I really don't know what else to possibly say about this. His drug of choice, Mrs. Meat, was heroin. He was known to do heroin many times. Dr. Phil's show, talked about it. He was known for that. So heroin, and now they're pretty much confirming that in the news that it was a heroin overdose. So, I don't know if he got to the point of shooting up. I don't know, but we probably will find out. when ODs like this happen, it makes you wonder, like in the comment earlier, did he get some bad dope? Did he do too much? He's been doing it for years. So, oh my God. Wow, Tay, you remember. It's like I was saying, I did have a channel a long time ago, and he had my video taken down, by the way. He flagged me. 1814 D-head. Yes. How could I ever forget that? That's where I did all those Bobbi Kristina videos, and dude acted like he was in like competition for this. Like, this is no competition. Talking about, somebody being found in a bathtub and the death of someone is no damn competition. But I already roasted him. I'm gonna let him live, Tay. I'm gonna let him live. Nothing to say but the truth. Hollywood is evil. Say the truth and be done with it. Yeah. And this is very true. Out of the 4 people at the house when Bobbi Kristina died, 3 of them are dead as of today. That is right. Max, Bobbi Kristina, Nick Gordon. And I hope the girl that, was Max's girlfriend, I really hope she's off the drugs and living her full life to her full potential. Old School Patricia Tyler says, most heroin addicts shoot up, I think. And Mrs. Meat says, is that what Bobbi Kris was doing too? They did find heroin and opiates. They found heroin in Bobbi Kristina's system, yes. It is very sad. As I've seen comments about very Illuminati-ish. I've seen comments about alcohol. I agree that weed is harmless. I don't think, when I hear somebody smokes weed, I don't think anything. To me, that's not a drug. But, something that you manufacture and cook up in your basement with man-made chemicals cannot be good for you, right? I mean, seriously. It'll be not interesting, but I will be interested to know if anyone else in that area where Nick Gordon is at, passes away from overdoses. Like, was this like a bad batch of dope that he got? Especially being the fact he was experienced with his addiction, to die from an overdose. Now, back to the comment about shooting up. I think that you can do heroin without shooting it up. I'm pretty sure from things that I've read. But typically they do shoot up heroin, I believe, mostly. I don't know. I've never did it. Yes. And I think, yes, Daniela Bradley. That's right. Thank you, Kirsten. That's right. She's the only one alive who's that's right. I've reached out to her before, but she has been radio silent ever since this happened. However, she did do a deposition. And in this deposition, she discussed watching Nick Gordon beat Bobbi Kristina Brown. And some other things regarding drug use and stuff like that. Wow. Okay. So they snort it too. Okay. You can smoke it on foil or sniff it. Okay. Wow. Gross. Gross, gross. I don't know how he was doing it. So then, for those who may know, why shoot it up?
It hits harder, faster.
Oh, okay. That was somebody telling me. Janis Joplin was managed by Clive Davis. All these people who are with that man are dead. Stay away from Hollywood. Yeah. Yeah. They shoot up when the other forms of it stop working. Got it. Wow. you guys, I'll keep you posted as the more that news comes in. Percocets, are they a form of heroin? I know they're an opiate, and it's like in the same family or something like that. I really have no idea. If I'm not mistaken, I think I seen a documentary saying that heroin actually used to be used in the medical field back in like the early 1900s or something like that. I don't know. So, shoot, y'all are schooling me on this. Holly, old school Patricia Tyler calls it Holly weird, not Hollywood. And also too, I know that people have taken pills that are opiates and snorted those, or taken them, consumed them, in pill form or whatever the case may be. But anyway, guys, much love to all of you out there. Right now, there's really nothing else to say as far as updates go with this. I am shocked by this news today, totally shocked. And I will definitely keep you guys updated. But again, like as I was saying before, to me, the saddest part about all of this is that what happened to Bobbi Kristina Brown and Whitney Houston died with him, and we will never know now. So, you guys have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your New Year's Day. Sorry to come in with the horrible news. No updates on Malia at this time. Really, there's been no changes in that case at all. All right, guys, I will talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good one, okay? Take care.